I need you to be precise. Tell me everything about the day he died.
Okay.
I didn't realize it was so high.
Yeah. I went upstairs to my bedroom. That's when I heard Daniel scream. Mama! That's it.
Okay. The autopsy report is inconclusive.
I think he fell.
An accidental fall is gonna be hard to defend. Nobody's gonna believe that.
You need to start seeing how others are going to perceive you.
He was fragile. It might have been suicide.
No.
Yes.
I can't stand anymore! You're the one to blame!
Stop. I did not kill him.
But first up, we're going to do a film review of the film that won the Palme d'Or this year, Anatomy of a Fall. And Gary, do you want to tell us about a little bit of an overview or summary of this film?
Yes. So, Anatomy of a Fall, it's the latest film by the director Justine Triet. She's a French filmmaker, and this film is set in France, and it's kind of like a mysterious death drama that turns into a courtroom thriller. So the premise is basically that there's a marriage between a German woman and a French man, and they've got a young son who's visually impaired, and he's out walking his dog one day. It comes back to their home and finds his dad lying dead and just outside the house. And so the film starts with that shocking moment, and then kind of unpacks it over 2.5 hours and gets into the nitty-gritty detail of what happened, and you get a feel for their backstories, and then it kind of around halfway through goes into like a courtroom drama setting. And I think it's a fantastic film. I think it's brilliantly acted, really well made, and it also flies by. I think the runtime, it's 2.5 hours, but it doesn't feel like that at all. And I was really, really impressed by this film. Very accomplished. Interested to know what you both think of it.
Yes, I totally agree with you. I am not in general that much attracted to films that are like, courtroom dramas. I find them a bit boring in general. But obviously, I was really interested in this one also because, it received the Palme d'Or. So that's, in a way, always recognition of quality. And also, I had seen the trailer and it looked like really interesting. So, as you said, it's super long, but it really is worth every minute of it. The tension, the playfulness between the characters is actually, there's a lot of humor in the film, which I didn't expect at all. And it's also a very interesting take on these gender dynamics as well, which, I'm always thinking about these things, but I really love the argument, and I don't want to say much about it because obviously it's a very important part of the film. So for those people that haven't watched the film yet, but I thought it was brilliant the way that dialogue unfolds and we see the gender the gender role dynamics there, and as you said, it's really amazingly, the actors are all brilliant, all of them, and I haven't watched any other films by this director before, so I can't really say much about her work, and maybe you both know a bit more about her previous work, but I thought it was a really brilliant piece of film and super entertaining, and also food for thought in different ways, and also the ending. Obviously we're not going to talk about the ending, but it's still kind of inconclusive in a way, and you never know. So I also like that about the film. What do you think about it, Amanda?
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I'm not a courtroom drama person either, and I don't think any of the posters or things got me really excited. It was probably the Palme d'Or that got me excited. And then it oftentimes takes me a while to get into a film, to be honest. And I'm really glad that I wasn't late for this film, because sometimes I accidentally come in a bit late or something like that. And this is like everything happens, obviously, right at the beginning to set everything up. And then I was thinking, well, oh my gosh, what's going to go on for the next 2.5 hours? But I was captivated through the whole thing. I thought, and I think you were saying the inconclusiveness of that, I think, is what makes it interesting too. And I think it's about and the gender dynamics I really noted, but I think specifically in the courtroom and how people perceived the defendant, the wife, and also even I thought the son was a really interesting, actor. I think did a really great job. It was really like sort of this idea of memory and what you remember and how things happen and whether or not you can, whether you want to believe or you do believe and trust and whatnot. So I think that inconclusiveness of whether or not we know the truth of what happened or not is a really important part of the main structure of the film, to keep that open. And I think that was really one of the fascinating parts of it, because you never totally knew which way it was going to go. And I think that was what was interesting for me. Gary, do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think like it's quite rare in a film these days where you're watching a film and you genuinely don't know where it's going to go or what the outcome is going to be. And I think this one does that very well, and the dialogue is fantastic. And in that argument scene, like you say, Amaya, and then generally like through the whole courtroom scenes as well. A film I would liken it to is Saint-Omer, which we reviewed earlier in the year, which is a very detailed and intricate courtroom drama, and this one's got elements of that. And I was totally engrossed by it. I would mention the actor who plays the prosecution lawyer. I think is fantastic. I feel like he threatens to steal the film in some moments with his performance. His name's Antoine Reinartz. So yeah, I thought he was fantastic. It was a little bit like you, Amanda, and I didn't really know what I was getting when I went into the film. I actually saw it. It was a surprise screening, so it had been heavily rumored that it was going to be Anatomy of a Fall. I think the sort of the release dates kind of lined up for it, and I knew that it won the Palme d'Or. It also won the Palme Dog award. So there's a dog in this. The family dog is some fantastic acting from an animal. There's some kind of pivotal scenes with the dog as the film develops, and I think the dog's fantastic as well. I will just say, touching on what you'd said earlier, I haven't seen loads of Justine Triet's work, but I'd seen a film called Sybil, which she made a few years ago. It's kind of about the relationship between a therapist and her patient, and Sandra Hüller is in that, but in a very brief supporting role. She's fantastic in that, and I think she really, she's really great in this. And I know that I know around this time of year we always like, whenever we're talking about films, there's always like that talk around like awards, and I think her name is getting thrown around. I wouldn't be surprised if she's nominated for that. She's also in Zone of Interest, the new Jonathan Glazer film, which I've not seen yet, but I heard she's fantastic in that as well. So
thank you for mentioning the dog as well, because I was in so much distress at some point. And the dog is fantastic, and I love that the credits he's the first one to appear on the credits as well. I thought that was very cute of the filmmakers. But I just wanted to mention that the actor that you just mentioned that plays the prosecutor, he was also in 120 Beats Per Minute, which is this fantastic film by Laurent Campillo about the whole movement of ACT UP in Paris during the 80s, during the crisis of AIDS. And we were like, oh, this face sounds familiar. I went with a friend, and then we're like, oh yeah, he's in 120 beats per minute as well. And yeah, he's just a fascinating character, and the way that he's like taking the books of Sandra, as a sort of example of that she's a murderer, and then he doesn't believe the child's version of the story because it's subjective. It's like your whole conception of subjectivity is really fascinating. And I was just going to mention as well that the only thing not that I didn't like, but I didn't believe, is the fact that the child is put through the whole court, the whole trial. I thought that was, I don't think that would happen in real life, that like a minor has to experience that whole thing when he's also obviously experiencing trauma still because his dad is dead. So, yeah, I just didn't believe that bit of the film. But apart from that, I thought it was well-rounded and really well made.
Yeah, I agree with you on Gary. I thought a lot of Saint Omer as well by seeing this film, but I liked them both, but I liked this film a bit more. I think it was also because that one was like playing with style in a way that was slightly focused on the style of the film versus this one, which was, I think, very much focused on the emotion and the story, and was able to kind of go back and forth with flashbacks and things like that kept the story captivating and interesting for quite a long time. Well, that's Anatomy of a Fall. I think we all agree that film is great, and we highly recommend it. Go see it in the cinema, and it's worth your 2.5 hours. So that on to the next.